I'm gonna have to work that out. Anyway, welcome back, everyone. I'm gonna have to apologize for you out of the gate. I'm going to be a little bit scattered today. I'm gonna be a little bit sloppy, a little bit sort of all over the place. Because I've been in Norway for 3 months now. I think that's right, give or take. Yeah, like almost exactly 3 months. And I came over with a 3-month supply of the meds that I take every day to stop me from being a complete disaster of a human being. And I'm out. And I do have like a doctor that I can call here, but I thought that it might be perhaps a good opportunity to try and wean myself off them, given that I've been on some form of antidepressants since I was 17, so like well over a decade. And yeah, at various times been on a pretty high dose, and I'm thinking maybe, I don't know, like it's good sometimes to kind of like test the waters and see if you can kind of like do without. And of course, that comes with a period of pretty severe withdrawal. So, yeah, if I'm just like really dumb today, or for those of you on YouTube, just really dumb for like the next 2 or 3 videos, then you'll have to forgive me. I hope you understand. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Anyway. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. How you all doing? All right, so we just met Emmett. Yeah, that's right. We came back from Ilmeg. We've met Emmett. And we're heading off to Rak'tika to meet Y'shtola. And on the way, we're going to the Church of the First Light at Fort Job. Because... why was it again? Oh yeah, the Exarch thinks there's gonna be like a tablet there that might help us, and might also, fuck, I'm not attuned to Fort Job. Well, that's just embarrassing. Might help us and might also kind of help endear himself with Y'shtola a little bit more than he currently is, which is not at all, since Y'shtola is not as trusting as Thancred and the Leviers, and like 100% knows that the Exarch and Noriange are trying to pull some shit over her. So that's where we're at, to kind of recap the last episode, if you will. Oh, it's still no flying in Lakeland because I've been lazy with those as well. Oh my god, I haven't even been to Fort Job yet. Holy heck. That is a little embarrassing. Well, we're just over a week now from patch, from 5.2. And I gotta say, I'm filled with, as I am like before every patch, a curious combination of like excitement and dread. Just because the first couple of weeks of patch, they're so busy. It's this weird thing. It's like a birthday patch day, you know, but it's immediately preceded by at least 2 weeks of very hard work. All right, Oriange, where are we? Here amidst these ruins, we will find the Church of the First Light, and within that hallowed hall, the tablet we seek. Time is of the essence, my friend. Let us be quick. You have an excuse to do all bomb. Oh, you haven't done all bomb yet. Oh my goodness, you're gonna love it. It's fantastic. Okay, we don't need that. Don't need that. Oh my goodness, is there a trader here that I can quickly dump some of this stuff off on? There we go. Because this is gonna get out of hand real quick. Real quick. Oh boy. Oh boy. Alright. I should unlock Desynth on this character. That would probably help a little bit. I don't think I need Analogous Catalysts. What else can we get rid of? I don't think we're going to be using Ethys or Alexas. Or like any of these. Thing is, I would use some food just for the experience, but like I'm gonna be 80 before we get out of Rak'tika already, so not really any point. Alright, that should help a little bit. There we go. There we go. Going from just summon at a red mage to something else. Red mage feels like you're hitting your enemies with a foam bat. I like that. Red mage is a lot of fun. I like red mage.
Hello there.
Hello, Fleece. At the height of Legoland's prosperity, his site served not as man's final bastion, but as testament to his ingenuity and architectural prowess. The Church of the First Light was responsible for many such marvels, building majestic chapels in every corner of the realm. Alas, the flood with its inexorable tides would drown nigh every one, and did all but put a stop to the religion as a whole. For the creatures which then did rise from that fulgent deluge were seen as agents of divine punishment, sent to devour sin and sinner both, whence came the name of Sin Eater. The people were lost, seemingly forsaken by their god. Yet where there is light, there hath ever been shade, and 'twas in the dark they sought solace. The most devout of these worshippers of shadow did then migrate to the Rak'tika Greatwood, but that is a tale for another time. For now, let us find what remaineth of the chapel here. So, I have to imagine that this light worship is gonna somehow tie into those depictions of Heidelin we were seeing in the 5.2 trailer. At least, like, it was almost definitely Heidelin, right? This is indeed the church we seek. You know, after Heaven's Ward, when I came down here, I was expecting, like, on that marker to suddenly have, like, 1,000,000 polar bears attack me. Because day one of Heaven's Ward, I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but there's that shrine in Western Highlands where you go downstairs and there's, like, a little shrine dedicated to Shiva. There's a marker and you get attacked by a polar bear. But on day one, because there were so many people down there was like perpetually like 1,000 polar bears packed into this one tiny cellar, and just the cacophony of it was just, oh man, it was so funny. It was so good. It's surprisingly intact. What little is left of the church as I've seen until now has always borne the scars of decades of disuse. Its subterranean construction hath done much to protect the whole from the ravages of time, yet the reason for its remarkable preservation may be deduced from its decoration. As faith in the light did wane, so rose reverence for the dark, and its followers did want for places of worship. To be plain, the standards which do adorn these walls belong not to those who built them, but to worshippers of the dark, the night's blessed. who subsequently migrated to Rak'tika, yes? Indeed. It was beneath the shaded boughs of the Rak'tika Greatwoods that they finally found sanctuary. Oft and many times did Yulmore make spurious overtures of friendship unto them, but they are no fools. The Exarch knoweth full well that Y'shtola in her seclusion doth labour to learn all she may of the Blessed and their past. 'Tis why he sent us here, I now see. The tablet of which he spoke no doubt provideth a glimpse into the history that she so yearneth to comprehend. Well then, we'd better hurry up and find it. Oh, you're talking about the meteor chocobo, right? Yeah, that was the same, wasn't it? Fuck, that was so funny. Yeah, the red chocobos. Classic. Da-da-da-da-da. And hi, Cookie, how you doing? What's up, mate? I love it, rather than walking over to pick it up, we just kind of away from the distance. Within the outer, thou sayest. Naught escapeth thine eye, 'twould seem. This is indeed the tablet we seek. Curious, his engravings predate the Knights Blessed. If I am not mistaken, they are written in the scripts of the ancient empire of Ronka, whose capital once stood in the midst of what is now Rak'tika. It will be no small matter to decipher them. A fine gift for our seeker of truth. 'Tis plain the Exarch understandeth Y'shtola only too well. But come, let us quit this place and make ready for our journey into the woods. Ere we depart, there is a custom of the Knights Blessed which I feel compelled to elucidate. As one might expect, they deem light to be abhorrent, and everything it touches befouled. Thus do they take utmost pains to protect all they can from its taint, including their very names. To speak plain, it is the belief of the Blessed that one's own name must ne'er be uttered in the light of the everlasting day. Yet this commandment precludeth not the use of another's. Thus do parents protect their children, and in rare cases, masters their disciples. So it is that Y'shtola hath taken the name of Master Matoya. Lest we offend them, I bid you speak not her true name in the Blessed's presence. With that in mind, let us speak with the guard who keepeth vigil at the Greatwood's border. You still haven't done all of it, at least no one's queuing for it still? Really? That is so curious. I would have thought that that now, particularly after the 5.2 trailer, people would be kind of like clamoring to get that done. Well, I'm definitely going to redo all of Ivalice on this character before 5.25. I'd like to do a video, assuming I have time, to write and edit that. But I think I will between now and 5.25. There's going to be like 6 weeks, so yeah, I hope to make a video on Ivalice, and kind of, it's like, it's a lot to kind of wrap your head around, and the exposition in it isn't sort of super clear. It's really hard to kind of work out the timeline and where it departs from Final Fantasy XII and Tactics, and there's still a lot of people that just assume that it's exactly the same as 12 and Tactics, and it's not. Like, it's really, really not. So it might be a useful resource for people, for me to sort of clarify that a little bit. Hey, Brighthawk, thank you so much for 21 months, by the way. Holy crap. Ever get sent into a knight's blessed community, you call yourself Master Ethys. Yeah, people I level scum to get to get Crystal Tower series. Yeah. People are so lazy.
No matter how far he goes, man cannot resist looking back on the path he has walked. The untold stories and secrets of the past can be more alluring than the promise of tomorrow. And so he braves the forests of Rak'tika in search of mystery and wonder. Of Ronka, to which all seekers of hidden truths are inevitably drawn.
I love this zone so much. I'm very curious about that shot from the
We have arrived.
From the trailer. It just showed us a shot of the Fruit of the Protector there, and I just remember there was a shot from the trailer of the Fruit of the Protector glowing, and one of the Kitari is what they call the Kikoni here. Yeah, one of the Kitari and the Adventurer and the little minion of the Great Serpent standing in front of it. So the Kitari questline is going to teach us a little bit more about Ronka history and the Great Serpent in particular, which is interesting. Also, you guys might hear me giggling a couple of times in this zone because my partner, Talea, she has just ruined Ronka for me by informing me that Ronka is actually Norwegian slang for aggressive self-affirmation, if we put it politely, for giving oneself a one-handed round of applause for feeding the ducks, if you will.
Vast though these woods may be, they are, by and large, uninhabitable.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of ruined this part of 14's lore for me.
However, whose sparse foliage permitted man a foothold. No lands must remain beyond our grasp. Go forth, conquer, rule!
Forgive me. A sudden pang of nostalgia for those halcyon days.
Exploring virgin territories, subjugating primitive peoples, all for the glory of Garlemald.
If you've brought your ivory standard, I'll be happy to tell you where to stick it.
Can we not simply take a moment to enjoy the view together? Or would you rather I spied on you from the shadows? Much more of this, and I may very well begin to regret my show of good faith.
If you really want to stay, then help us fight.
No, I think not. I am an observer, nothing more.
Nice try.
Even shielded by the shadows of these boughs, I feel the light's presence most keenly.
So I've been thinking back to this line a lot. Because it's not insignificant. So okay, we learned first of all that the people that facing the light's corruption at the inner journey's head, right? They are effectively tempered. And we've worked out, kind of working backwards, that what tempering does is basically over-aspecting someone's mind so far to a certain element or pole that they become like disconnected from their body in some way, right? So Zodiac, darkness, astral, Ascian's tempered, over aspected to astral, kind of explains why they're why the light's effective against them, right? Both in the form of, you know, like the blade of light and that kind of stuff, what we now know of as you know, umbrally aspected energy, and of stuff like this, right?
To accompany you is taxing enough. To fight is out of the question.
I will suffer your company if I must, but not your commentary.
Oh, he is so extra though, isn't he? What is it now? Do you expect me to regale you with friendly banter? Oh, very well. I will humor you this once. You may consider it my latest act of good faith. Come on then. What do you wish to know? So like I mentioned yesterday, any chance you get to talk to him at Selk, please. Please do it. Well, well, what a curious question. Mortal flesh is but the vessel into which we Ascians pour the elixir of our souls, molding it as fits the occasion. Or not, if we so choose. Be it for a year or a millennium, I prefer to retain the same form until my duty is done. So after arriving here in the first, I fashioned some hapless body into the man you see before you. Though as your friend over there can attest, there are those of us who forego such alterations. It was ever the rash one, La Habrea, jumping from vessel to vessel, never heeding the toll it took on him. So again, it takes them a long time, kind of like a dragon, it takes them a long time to replenish their ether after they expend it. And the reason why we defeat La Habrea like quite handily and Emet-Selch is so much more powerful is because of that, because La Habrea is quite liberal with his use of his ether. Oh, he's a great villain. He's a really, really great villain. One of the best in the series, for sure. His plain our Ascian counterpart meaneth to follow wheresoever we lead. Were it otherwise, he would not suffer the overabundance of light in these woods. Verily, it pervadeth every corner. As long as the Light Warden remaineth, the Sin Eaters shall be free to prey upon these lands without surcease. If naught is done, it is but a matter of time before the blessed succumb. 2 years past, a swarm of Sin Eaters did lay waste unto their largest settlements, killing a great many of their priests in so doing. Though some few did survive, they knew not how to go on. Wayward souls in want of a guiding hand. For a mercy, Y'shtola hath provided that which they sorely needed. They have since endeavored to restore their home, and thither shall we bend our steps. Fort gone. Yeah, absolutely ephemeral, yes. I think people project a lot onto Emet-Selch that's not present. But I think he is still a very, very interesting character. Wait, hang on, see, he's got something else to say here. So this is, of course, the aftermath of the scene we see with Ranger and Y'shtola in the Shadowbringers trailer.
I see little sign of recent activity. nor hath any meaningful progress been made with the reconstruction. Mayhap Y'shtola sought shelter elsewhere. Come, let us quit this place.
Now! Surround them!
You know I gotta do it. You know I gotta do it to him.
Teenagers, they're not like the others.
There's a reason for that. Lower your weapons, please. We mean you no harm.
How is it they can speak?
It's a Sin Eater trick. They mean to kill us all.
Man, I was so happy to see, well, they're not Dusk White, but, you know, Dark Elves here. Ah, finally. Kupo? I gotta do it to him.
That will seem a lot less amusing when we are forced to kill them.
Oh, for the love of... I had hoped that by accompanying you, we might come to understand one another. But all I have come to understand is that you have a knack for inflaming the natives. You've committed the cardinal sin of boring me. And so, I retire to the shade. Good luck.
There! Did you see that one disappear?
I think I preferred La Habrea.
Yeah, Emmett does
Enough.
have that serious
Runard report.
boomer energy, doesn't he?
Master Matoya! We apprehended them as you ordered, but are you certain these are Sin Eaters?
The intense light of the ether I saw was unmistakable. If not Sin Eaters, then what?
'Tis passing queer that Y'shtola should mistake us for the enemy, is it not? Mayhap it hath been too long since last she beheld the radiance of thine ether. Master Matoya, hath time truly made strangers of us?
Nay, I recognize you, Urianger, Thancred. And this is Minfilia of the First, of whom you spoke before.
Just so. And knowing as thou must that we come in peace, might I prevail upon thee to have thy comrades lower their arms?
First explain this other presence in your company. The one I know not. There is but one manner of creature in this world whose ether is suffused with such an abundance of light.
Oh.
Mine apologies, Master Matoya, but thou art mistaken. Before thee standeth our dearest comrade, the truest hero among us. Though he is but recently arrived here in the First, not one but two Light Wardens have already perished by his most puissant hand.
It cannot be.
Nice to see you too.
Master Matoya?
Lower your weapons. Forgive us this hostile welcome. Come. I would give you a proper introduction to Rak'tika and its people.
Man, all the other Scions just out here minding their own business, and Y'shtola has to go and start a cult. Typical. You have been busy since arriving in the first, I gather, but I would hear the tale of your travails in more suitable surroundings. With Fort gone, yet to be rebuilt, the Knights Blessed have made their home in a settlement to the northeast. I will await you at its entrance. Follow the path through yonder gates, and you will find me soon enough. Ah, yes, yes. I can't help but imagine that naming this place was a deliberate pun by Koji, right? Can't trust that, man. It's gonna be so nice to have an excuse to spend more time in this zone as well with the Qitari. There you are. I was beginning to worry. Much like the 12s would, this forest has a way of dealing with those who stray too far from the beaten path. But I digress. Let me show you to the home of the Knights Blessed. That's true, yeah. Namazu are canon. Although, I think they're extinct. I'm pretty certain they're extinct. And you know what? Good riddance. To be fair.
Slitherbow is the largest of the blessed settlements. They worship no gods, instead revering darkness itself.
Do we run into a
It's
forgiven
curious kind of
Namazu?
faith,
Oh my god.
but one which has granted them the strength to persevere in the wake of the flood.
Forgiven big one.
I hope you weren't expecting a grand feast by way of welcome. They are a simple people. Now, I would hear of your travels away from prying ears. Come.
So Get to the Enlightened is literally just Koji's self-insert.
I see. And now you seek the Light Warden of Rak'tika. In the days after I arrived in the First, I too relied upon the Crystal Exarch for guidance. But his penchant for secrecy and the telling of half-truths soon lost him my trust. And thus did I strike out on my own.
Well, that wasn't a self-insertion, Aisling. That was literally Koji.
My work eventually led me here to the forest, which I've come to know like the back of my hand. I cannot say with certainty where your quarry is hiding, but I am confident I can narrow the search.
Well, go on then.
Some few thousand years ago, this forest stood at the heart of the Empire of Ronka. A great many relics of that civilization can still be found to the east in Ixmaya, or rather could be found. were the area not fiercely guarded. Ixmaya, you see, is home to a tribe of warriors whose lineage is said to date back to the time of the Empire. Any attempt to enter their territory is met with lethal force. They offer no warnings, and suffer no trespasser to escape. Needless to say, my every attempt to survey the area has been thwarted.
Mayhap the Warden hideth there, full knowing none may approach it for fear of these protectors.
As for the tablet, I find the timing of its discovery suspiciously convenient. If I did not know better, I would think someone was trying to curry favor with me. Regardless, it will take time to decipher these writings. Yet I would not be at all surprised if they somehow held the key to entering Ixmaya unmolested. The Exarch has a nose for serendipity.
If there is aught I can do to assist thee in unraveling their secrets, thou needst only ask.
Thank you, Urianger. I may well take you up on that offer. While we set to work, might I suggest you take a tour of the city? Should you be in any doubt as to the importance of your role as the Warrior of Darkness, the people here will surely cure you of it.
I must say, Ishtola, while most of us have struggled to come to terms with our altered circumstances, you seem to have adapted rather well.
Lest you forget, Master Matoya and I dedicated our lives to uncovering the truth which hides at the heart of our world. Though separate, the fate of this reflection is nevertheless bound to that of our home. That I would be daunted by such an invaluable opportunity is absurd. But what of you, Thancred? Could it be that you are still struggling to come to terms with the nature of your young companion?
Oof.
My struggles are none of your concern. Quite why you would speak thus and in this company, I do not know. Perhaps you left more of yourself back in the source than I assumed. If you'll excuse me.
Oof.
He understands that I'm not the same. That I'm not her.
Understands, perhaps, but does not accept. The question being whether he ever will, and whether you will, more importantly. As difficult as your circumstances may be, they are yours, not his. 'Tis you and you alone who bears ultimate responsibility for your life.
I mean, she's not wrong, but that was pretty harsh.
But you need not make any hard choices now. Why not go and get some fresh air, clear your head?
I guess so, Shuwu. I guess so. Oh, a sneeze from across the office there. Oh my god. Knight's blessing upon thee. What did we just get? Some pantalones. Okay, we don't need those. Yeah, something like that. Something like that, Tiger. And hi, Kyoka, how you doing? I am not indifferent to Thancred's troubles. Nevertheless, I will not apologize for holding him to a high standard after all these years. He has ever been a man of considerable resolve, and that is what I will continue to expect. Though it heartens me to know that some of us remain ourselves in spite of our present circumstances. I can but imagine how Alizé and Alfino have changed since arriving here in the first. Change is part of life. It's true. We can but hope it's changed for the better. You're right. And after my untoward remarks to Thancred, no doubt he thinks I changed for the worst. I'll have to speak with him later. Returning to the matter at hand, I really must begin work on deciphering this tablet. In the meantime, perhaps you should take a look around Sliverbow. If there's anything you need, pray speak with Runa at the plaza. Alright, we can do that. Welcome, friends. Welcome. My apologies for our less than hospitable greeting earlier. Tell me, what is your name? From where do you hail? From the Crystarium, I see. And this tablet you brought may help us find the Light Warden here in Rak'tika. Well, you are welcome to stay with us for as long as you need. Come, let me show you around. Would it be alright if I joined you? Of course, of course. Anything for the guests of our dear Master Matoya. Thank you. She means a great deal to the Knights Blessed, doesn't she? If not for her, we may have all perished in the Great Fire. With our priests slain and our home in ruins, we were at the mercy of the Sin Eaters. It was she who drove them back, and with her sage guidance, we were able to rebuild. Before long, she became a central figure in our community, a great oak within whose shadow many have come to find solace. That is not to say there were not those hesitant to grant an outsider such authority, myself included. Perhaps it is the smile in her eyes when she speaks of the sunless sea. I feel whole again, now that she is with us, and I have no doubt the others feel the same. She is much a part of the Knights Blessed as any of us, and we are grateful for all she does in service to the Dark. I can't use the Khajiit voice for everyone. I can use it for the Khajiit, can't I? But did you not hear? You did not hear this from me, yes? Now you should know there are certain customs we ask guests to adhere to, so long as they reside within Slitherbar. To show reverence to the Dark? In a word, yes. But fear not, it is not too involved. Let us begin with something simple. Follow me. Ronso has wares if you have coin. No, it was a Sin Eater attack, Sushi. That started it. I mean, it was probably, if I had to guess, it was probably Y'shtola throwing around fire threes to fight off Sin Eaters. Should you see any of our people come to this chamber, they have likely returned from a journey beyond the borders of Rak'tika. We use the water stored here to cleanse ourselves of the light's impurity. A simple and perhaps peculiar custom, but it is one of our most important. Would you two kneel for just a moment that I might rid you of the light's impurity? I very much doubt that I need to kneel, Runa, but if you insist. Zunbil, I prefer the Khajiit voice to the ones that they give the Ronso. So that's what I'll do. I'm doing great, Pingu. How are you? And with that, you have been cleansed of the light's blighted touch. How do you feel? I'm not sure, to be honest. Not refreshed exactly, but I do feel different. Has this water been treated in some way? This is just a prank. These are the The piss jars. This is the community piss jars. And Runar's just pulled a horrible, horrible prank on us. Only blessed by our priests. They are practicing the arcane arts. As such, it is said their prayers imbue the water with a faint dark energy. A prickling sensation. No one has ever spoken of such a reaction before. I wouldn't say it was an unpleasant sensation, but I too felt something strange. The dark aspect of these waters should have no discernible effect, unless... By the gods, Master Montoya was right. You are sin eaters. I jest. What you felt was likely no more than the chill of the water. Perhaps now would be a good time for you to acquaint yourselves with the people of Sliverbow. For that, I must teach you a customary greeting. Alin Tuta. In the language of Ronka, it is one of several ways one might say good evening. The world is not as safe as it once was, and this greeting lets us quickly discern friend from foe. Is there a handshake or gesture we should know too? I would hate to offend anyone. You need not worry. Merely speak the words Alin Tuta and they will know you as friend of the blessed. I will await your return here. Now go. They are like to be heartened by your knowledge of our ways. Valentin, I'm not a Lalafell. What are you talking about? Does this look like a Lalafell to you? I think not. I think not, my friend. Slash say, Alin Tuta. The elderly woman smiles warmly. Fooled me. Why am I a dwarf? Because dwarves are awesome. I have no business with strangers. Rude. Ah, newly come traveler, Alan Chisi, and welcome to Sliverbow. You must forgive us if we seem strangely reserved. We are a quiet and taciturn people. Silent and serene as the sunless sea. The quiet makes it easy to discern the presence of Ethys and other dangers here in the woods. It's interesting to me that these guys kind of live like the Galmorans, you know? Like people did in the 12's Wood before they were actually given the elementals permission to live in the 12's Wood. Away with you. Alin Tuta. Alin Chisi. Welcome, friend. I take it you will remain in these woods for some time, yes? Be wary of these woods. You will find poison in near everything you see. But fear not, our medicinal tea will keep you healthy. Ask, and it is yours. Well, Valentin, they're just buff Khajiits. That's what they are. They're just Khajiit that have been lifting. Everyone was so kind and gracious. I was nervous at first, but already I'm starting to feel at home. There's still much I have to learn about the Knights Blessed, but their faith and strength of will is nothing short of inspiring. I can see how they've built such a thriving community. Need female Rak'tika? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Ah, you are returned. Very good. No doubt they were glad for your company. It has been too long since we have had visitors. Remember, if you have any questions or there is anything you need, do not hesitate to ask. Speaking of which, we must arrange food and lodgings for your stay. As friends of Master Matoya, we cannot ask for payment, but if you would be willing to lend a hand, it would be my pleasure. We are fortunate indeed to play host to such generous souls. The task I have in mind is simple enough. All I ask is that you take a jug and water the crops in the square. May I help too? Of course. One of you can do the filling and the other the watering. Speak with Urzabel when you are finished. You'll be relieved to hear the crops have been tended to. While you take care of that, I will see to your room and a warm meal. Right then, I'll fill you water. Why the hell not, Valentin? This was the only jug I could find which is small enough to lift, but I'm afraid there's a crack at the bottom. I need to hurry to the garden before all the water leaks out. Man, Ophelia, you had one job. You had one job. Yeah, why am I streaming 14? Why am I not in bed right now? Jeez. It's crazy. How dare you, Valentin? How dare you? I'm more Strayan than ever. Oh, look at this good Duskwight. Well met, travelers. I observed you earlier speaking with the others. Have you need of something? You watered the crops. Ah, my apologies for not noticing sooner. I've been rather distracted of late. Watering the crops was always Todia's duty, but she's no longer with us. We have since taken to sharing the duty, though never with guests. You're most kind. Is there anything else we can do to help? We could plant something if you like. There is no need. The plot is small, it is true, but it provides us with enough to survive. We ask for no more. I don't know how you manage. Have the Blessed not considered leaving? Life would surely be easier almost anywhere else. I can understand why you might say that, but the easiest path is not always the right one. Tell me, do you know our history? How our faith came to be? Yes, I believe so. The Knights Blessed was initially formed by those who lost their homes in the wake of the flood. What began as an occasional gathering of survivors eventually grew into a community which ultimately decided to strike out on its own in the Rak'tika Greatwood. I see you have read your history. But there is a history that is told and one that is lived. Like so many in those times, the first of the Knights Blessed lost everything. Their homes, their loved ones, all they held dear. To make matters worse, none could say what became of the souls of those lost in the flood when their bodies were reborn as sin-eaters. The people were without answers, without hope, their gods having drowned along with everything else. It seemed that nothing was beyond the reach of the light. But soon they realized that where there is light, there must be darkness. And in that truth they found a new faith. A belief that the souls of the departed could yet find peace beyond these burning skies, in the sunless sea above. That is why we pray, for the safe passage of wayward souls onto that blessed black abyss, for the return of the night, that we might someday look upon the kingdom of heaven with our own eyes. We remain in these woods for the selfsame reason our founders first chose them, that we may lead lives of simplicity, with the shade of these trees as a constant reminder of our faith. And with so many seeking paradise in Yulmore, refreshing to find people who value a humbler existence. You are kind to say so. Many consider our way of life foolish, and so it must seem to those who yet cling to their worldly possessions. In times such as these, when everything can be taken away in an instant, it's all too easy to lose sight of why we fight to go on living. It is not to hold fast to material things, but to hold those who went before us in our hearts, keep alive the legacy they have left us. This we must do for them, our children, and generations yet unborn. To keep their legacy alive. Oh, that resonated with somebody. Is that the first Duskwite that isn't a villain? You know what? It would be, but it's not a Duskwite, is it? It's a Dark Elf. Like, it looks the same, but it's a totally different clan. So, no. No. Still no. Fun fact for you guys, in 1.0, Urialge and Astinian were both Duskwites. They weren't, like, mentioned as Duskwites explicitly, but they used Duskwite models and assets, and they were changed with ARR. Yeah. So it may or may not have been, like, an internal retcon, but their models were altered. Yeah, true story. Isn't that crazy? Done tending to the crops already? Very good. It should not be long before your room is ready. Runa! Yeah, it is pretty fucking metal, isn't it? The Duskwites are the best. In the woods! Sin Eaters! I fear they may have the touch. Where? In the groves to the southwest. But a mercy, they've yet to wander any closer to Slitherbow. Yeah, my main's Duskwite. Then we have no need to engage. Inform the guard that no one is to set foot outside the village until they have moved on. But sir, what of Todia's Heartstone? It must be retrieved before the service. Orderly times for Sin Eaters to appear. Are you just going to leave them alone? Under normal circumstances, we would not hesitate in striking the beasts down. But if they indeed have the touch, I would not risk them corrupting one of our own. What was that you said about a stone? A few days past, Todia, a child of the Knights Blessed, was slain by the Sin Eaters. We succeeded in retrieving her body, but in our haste we failed to notice her necklace was gone. Strung to it was a pendant of jade, her heartstone. All of the Knights Blessed are given such a stone at birth. It's the most valuable possession one can own. It's custom to present the Heartstone to of the deceased at their funeral as an offering to the heavens. Now, what if I could find it for you? I've experienced fighting Sin Eaters, and the Light's corruption does not touch me like it does others. Master Matoya called you Minfilia, did she not? Are you truly the Minfilia, descended from the Oracle? Even so, I dare not ask you to risk your life for the Blessed. I understand how you feel, but I can't stand by knowing that your people are in need and I can help. Please let me do this. Very well. But if the danger proves too great, you must retreat. I could never forgive myself if we were forced to hold a second service. I nearly forgot about Thancred. What if he returns before I do? Thancred doesn't need to know. What? You mean to say you'll come with me? Yadoi. Thank you. Let's hurry then before he returns. Go swiftly, and may the shadows keep you both. Listen, he's not a real dad, alright? I'm on Réanger's side with all this. You reckon Hellsguard are a bit more metal? I mean, yeah, Hellsguard lore is pretty fucking cool. The idea that they're literally called like their clan title is literal, like they literally guard the entrance to the Hells. That's pretty metal, you're right. There, the Sin Eaters. Oh shit. He's a guardian? Ah, she don't need no guardian. I was hoping there would only be one. There's no way we can search for the stone without dealing with them first. I mean, she's the same age that Alphino and Alize were when they first came to Eorzea. Let's get to it then. What? Should we make a plan first? Though, there are only two. I'll draw one of them away. You can deal with the other. Lahi. Alright, let's get to it. Come on. I can't double weave with this NA latency. Okay. Yeah, it was, but I think that's because after the zones are phased, it doesn't make sense for them to be, you know? There you are. It's done. Though I fear I was a bit careless. I'll do better next time, I promise. I'm fine. You needn't worry about me. More importantly, we have to find the Heartstone. They said it was made of jade, right? I'll search over there in the brush. When the shards rejoin, exactly what exactly has to happen? So there has to be basically concurrent calamities of the same alignment or polarity on the source and one of the shards. So it has to happen at the same time. The voids failed because, presumably because they didn't quite understand that they had to incite a calamity on the source at the same time. So the void, the Flood of Darkness on the 13th shard happened before the first Umbral Calamity. So basically, yeah, the Ascians hadn't realized yet that they had to fuck up the source at the same time. Yeah. Now, there's an important distinction between a Flood of Light and a Flood of Darkness. So what happens with a Flood of Darkness is that everything's over-aspected to astral, which means that it basically explodes. It blows out. It's moving too fast, and kind of, you know, scatters across infinity, right? So the void is literally a void. It is devoid of ether, except for the void scent themselves and a couple of, you know, little scattered chunks here and there. But it cannot be rejoined because there is no longer a world there to be rejoined. There's just not. There's nothing. It's just empty. Whereas a Flood of Light turns everything to umbral. It keeps it where it is. It's just frozen. Like, the ether is all still in the empty. It's just frozen. Time moves differently on other shards. How can you even plan a two-sided calamity? It doesn't. It moves in the same direction. The speeds kind of fluctuate, but it moves in the same direction. And just because we can't track it and we can't predict it, doesn't mean the Ascians can't. So basically, what was happening here is they were priming the first for rejoining, getting those conditions met so that they could kind of like flick the switch here at any moment. And that's kind of the point that it was at before we showed up, is that all the conditions were at the point where, like, you know, with one nudge, it would kind of like complete this Flood of Light. And then they try and like leave it there and kind of hold it suspended in that place until the conditions have been met on the source. And once they trigger a calamity on the source, they can kind of jump back to the shard and give it that extra little nudge that it needs to snowball into a rejoining. Don't they only need the ether to rejoin rather than everything physical? Everything physical is ether. This thing, most of the ether in the world is physical stuff. Didn't the Ascians tell Silver that the light might have fixed the void? Yeah, they were lying to her. They were misleading her. I mean, whether or not the light might fix the void, whether or not there is something that we can do with Eden that kind of like takes some of the light and puts it in the void to kind of like repair it at least a little bit, is another matter. But the Ascians telling Silver that if she kind of helped them cause a calamity here, that it would repair the void. I don't think they ever had any intention of doing that. It was literally the same as what they did manipulating Ardbert. Although with Ardbert, they said that, you know, they would rejoin the First and destroy it and allow everyone to die. And that was true. But telling Ardbert that that was the only way, that was obviously a lie. And they did the same thing to Silver. Yeah. Does that make sense? Does that answer the question? That's sort of as well as we understand it at the moment. Where is this heckin' thing? Wish we could hell damn it get home and find another way to get their home back. Well, there isn't another way. It's the thing, like, ether can't be created. It can only be recycled. Everything is scattered on the 13th. Yeah, but it's not, it's like scattered beyond the 13th. It's kind of blown out. So rather than like blowing into the direction of the source, it's just kind of blown out everywhere into space. It's just gone. It's just there's just nothing. It's not full of astral ether. There's nothing. There's almost no ether there. It's just the void sent themselves and, like I say, a couple of chunks of debris. Did you have any luck? Because the source wasn't primed again, so it just kind of blew out everywhere. That's beautiful. This has to be it. You know, Thancred always said you're a man of many talents, and I think I'm beginning to understand what he meant. I have much to learn if I'm to be even half the hero you are. The hero she was. Stop comparing yourself to everyone, jeez. Such a insecure teenager. You should hurry back to Slitherbow. Runa and the others are probably worried. I mean, it's kind of endearing, isn't it? That she's just like... Ah, fuck, I forgot to attune. She's just kind of a typical teenage girl in so many ways. Just kind of been burdened with this enormous responsibility. It's kind of like Titus, right? That's why I like Titus. When I first played Final Fantasy X, I fucking hated Titus so much. And before anyone adds me with, actually it's canonically pronounced Titus, I don't care. That's dumb. It's Titus, alright? No, it's Titus. I hated him when I first played it because, like, I was slightly younger than he was, and I was like, oh my god, this kid needs to grow up. He's acting like a little baby. Like, this is cringy and embarrassing. But I play it now, and I'm like much older than him, and I realize that he's a kid, like he's a child. You know, he may be shredded, he might not look like a child, but he's a little kid, and he doesn't have the sort of the coping mechanisms to be able to deal with what's happening to him, and he's just kind of like muddling along as best as he can and trying to stay, you know, positive and optimistic, and it's like really sweet and endearing now. Squall is so much worse than you remember. Yeah, it's funny as well because, like, when I was a kid, I used to think Squall was really cool, but now I'm just like, look at this fucking emo douchebag, this edgy little prick. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, we probably like related to Squall when we were younger, and now we look at him and we're just like embarrassed, reminding ourselves of our own, like, you know, edgy teenager stage. Oh god. Oh jeez. Zidane was a baller. Zidane's kind of flat to me. It's kind of two-dimensional. Thank goodness you are safe. I had begun to fear their worst. By all that is dark, you found it. We can proceed with our service as planned. These blessed gems serve not only to protect us in life, but to guide our spirits onto the sunless sea in the hereafter. Even should we be felled by the Sin Eaters, so long as these gems are recovered, our souls are ensured peace in the dark. Hi, Neko. How you doing? You think Vaughn is the worst Final Fantasy main character? Interesting. Yeah, I don't really like Vaughn either. And thank you so much for that Twitch Prime sub, Neko Paul. I really appreciate it. I think my favorite Final Fantasy protagonist is Cecil. Yeah, I love Cecil. Cecil's my boy. Words fail to express my gratitude for this kindness you have done for the blessed. I must insist that you and your friends attend toward your service as honored guests. There is much we must do to prepare, but please go and inform the others it will be held in the Darker. When you arrive, there should be an attendant present to explain the proceedings. Wasn't Balthier the main character? No. I mean, yeah, but no. It was Vaughn. Lining's the worst? I don't hate Lining. I think Lining's pretty cool. Ethys and I learned so much about the Knights Blessed while you were away, and we helped them recover a lost heirloom out in the woods. I know I wasn't supposed to leave, but they really needed our help. There were Sin Eaters, and as long as he accompanied you, but do try to be more careful. Your injuries could have been a lot worse. How did you... Let's just say a little bird told me, and it's telling me now that Ethys has business with us. Is something the matter? They've asked us to attend the service. Of course we'll go. It's being held in the Darker, is it? We'll take care not to be late, I promise. Well, the Final Fantasy games you've played, the Warrior of Light is definitely the worst. What, you mean our character? But the Warrior of Light is just a self-insert, like... your character is like whatever you want it to be, you know? But it's not mute. Like, your character's not canonically mute. I mean, it was like in ARR. You're just kind of stoic. Oh, the joke is you've only played 14. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. I get it. Our character's objectively the most OP main character in existence. Just about. Just about. I love Final Fantasy IX, don't get me wrong, but I'm not a huge fan of Zidane. I think he's a creepy little douchebag.
It seemed only right that we show our faces. May we join you?
Let us begin. I thank you all for coming to pay respects to our fallen daughter of the night. In the light,
She was known as Todia, but in the dark, we shall remember her always as Menine. Let us each take a moment to offer her our prayers. We entrust her now to the night's sweet embrace. In darkness will she be free from pain and suffering, now and forevermore. May her soul find peace in the sunless sea of heaven, and in the love we bear for her in our hearts.
That vessel represents the night sky, the sunless sea of heaven.
Yes, Solitaire. Runar's voice actor is Icelandic, I believe. As are all the V's.
Call upon you now, O bringer of shadow, to lead this gentle soul onto the sea. We call upon you, O warrior of darkness, to deliver her onto paradise everlasting.
I am told you assisted in the preparations for the service. On behalf of the Blessed, you have my sincerest thanks. The enduring legend of the Warrior of Darkness owes much to the traditions of these people. And none were more ardent in their faith than Todia. She would have been greatly moved by your presence.
You might not deliver her to the heavens, but if you could deliver the night sky to her people, the real night sky, it would be the next best thing. Their prayers would finally be answered. They could gaze up at the firmament and see their ancestors in every twinkle of the stars. We cannot allow their hopes and dreams to drown in the light. We have to bring back the dark. If we don't, who will?
Well, it's exactly the same with the Crystarium.
Forgive me, thinking of all those we have lost.
No, it's all right. We will bring back the dark.
All the contemporary communities on Novrant are much more diverse than they were before the flood.
Mayhaps sooner than later, in fact. Urianger and I have finished deciphering the tablet, and its contents were most illuminating. Let us reconvene in my chambers. We have much to discuss.